614
Liron and K hapa.
Ni aje watu wetu?
Ni aje mtu wangu?
Sambamba.
Umeshindaje?
Salama sana.
Umeshinda poa?
Nashukuru. Umesema kusini. Iko sawa. Nishaelewa. Akapoa.
Asante. Hata unakaa poa.
Nashukuru.
Hii ni tradition yako ama culture yako ama nini? Uka hivyo kumachumachi.
Ni mapenzi yangu.
Ni mapenzi yako?
Yeah.
Anyway, talking of which, we're going to be talking about traditions, culture, and religion. Where do we draw the line? Yeah? Where do we draw the line?
Ngumu hii.
Tuna draw line wapi? Mimi personally, I have a hard time could draw the line. Kwa sababu, the reason why I have a hard time drawing a line between traditions, or let's say for me I'll take tradition and culture as one, na religion, and that line for religion is because the cultures or the traditions that I'm used to, what I was cultured when I was growing up, they are things that have been there with me for a long time. While religion is also something that you've been brought up with, right? So where do you draw the line? What are your thoughts on that?
To me, culture and religion, culture and tradition, they are things that are passed from generation to generation.
Right.
Yeah. Religion is a theological belief that a group of people believe in. Let's say, for example, we have Muslims, we have Hindus, we have Christian. Kila mtu, everyone is believing in how they are going to pray to their God, or, you know.
Okay, a theological belief in that, like Christians have something they believe in Jesus or in the Trinity.
Yes.
While Muslims believe in Muhammad. That kind of analogy, right?
What about Indians?
And Indians believe in whatever they yes, they have their own belief in
everyone has
they have and something they identify with. So where I get conflicted is because even those ones, they are things that they've been passed down on, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's how I see it. It's something they've been passed down on in terms of they've been told this is what we do. So even Africans had their own religion, you know, which they believed in a higher power. Let's say that they believe everybody has one way or another believing in a higher power, which is religion, right?
That's true.
And those are things that we've been passed down, that have been passed down on us. Well, like we saw, culture or traditions are also things that are passed down on us. So the question is, where do we draw the line while we have our traditions, our cultural traditions, and religious belief?
I would say some people know how to draw the lines. Some people don't know. Because let's say, for example, I came up, I was born in a Christian family. That is what I found my mother doing and my parents doing. I believed in it and I moved with it until now. But for me, sometimes I think the way Christianity was sold to me or was given to me or was instilled in me, I'm like, I think it was about a lot of fear, you know, like ukifanya hivi hii itafanyika, ukifanya hivi hii itafanyika. It was not easy, like in the Bible, if you read the Bible yourself, you don't get the fears, you know, like when someone is telling you about their religion, like my religion, it was utachomeka, you know. So the fear was instilled. But later on I came to realize, kama Mungu ni baba yangu, na mnasema anasameanga. Kweli na mnarudi mnaniambia hakuna makosa kubwa kwa Mungu. si atanisamea tu.
Okay, I see where your point is.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, like you said, that's how you were brought up in a Christian home. At the same time, parallel to each other, I don't know whether it's parallel or they actually, whatever you want to call it, you were also brought up in what, it's Meru or
traditional. That's where I was going.
Yeah,
before you talked. I wanted to explain every even a tradition before you talked. So after that, I had my grandfathers and my grandmothers before they passed on, and the stuff they used to believe in was, they would say mimi ni Mkristo, but I'm still a Kikuyu. You know, I'm a Christian, but I'm still a Kikuyu. Meaning, he will not let his tradition go. But he believes he's a Christian na ataenda kanisa, atafanya kila kitu ya kikanisa, but kuna vitu ana believe za tradition lazima zikae. Can I give you an example? Some people will say, I don't align with tradition. Siitambui. Wengine wanasema ni uchawi kwa sahi wale watu wako. But vitu kama rorashio ni tradition. Why do you rashia then if you are Christian? Siwache.
Good point. That's where I was coming to. Yes, you were brought up as a Christian, and at the same time you had those traditions like what we are talking about, rorashio. Even circumcision is actually a tradition.
Tradition.
Yeah. So at what point do these two need to merge?
Do you know there is a Pacific Ocean and Atlantic Ocean? There's somewhere where when I was in school they say they don't merge. But when they merge, you cannot see with your na macho yako. A good example, when Christianity came to Africa, ilimeza tradition. That's why you find, vile nimekuambia saa hizi, people say mimi ni Mkristo na ninaamini na hii mambo ya kitradition, wengine wanasema ni ushetani, wengine wanasema ni uchawi. Because no one elaborated to them or told them the importance of tradition. Now you see some people, like I have a friend of mine who got sick at some point. He went to hospital. Doctors looked at him. He went even to India, came back. Daktari wanamwambia, hey, it's out of, kwa sababu tunakuangalia hauna kitu inakusumbua, but una deteriorate, unaelewa? One doctor in, I think in Nairobi hospital told him, bro, you need to see your tradition guys. Hii mambo ni ya kinyumbani. Unajua ukiambiwa hivyo sasa inasikikanga ni kama unaambiwa uende kwa uchawi. Yeah, let me tell you the story. It's a short story. Then when he consulted his wazee huko, one of them mzee akasema maybe kuna vitu ambazo zilisemwa kimila ambazo ndio zinakukula. Wakaanza kumpatia example ya his lineage, family people. Hawapiti hiyo miaka ako nayo. They die. So they did whatever they did kimila, which I don't know, but eventually he became sour without medication, without nothing. So hiyo utasema ni uchawi?
That's what I'm asking. Where do we draw the line? People, where do we draw the line? No, with the knowledge that we have right now, where do we draw the line? Because like you're saying, he went back to his people and then they were told that there's all this stuff that needs to be done. What about the people who do not know? You get, there are people who don't know, they will die because they don't know. So what about the people who don't know, and people will be like, oh no, we need to pray about this, we need to do, because that's what we know. That is what you have been brought up knowing. So where do we, how do we start teaching these things, right? How do we know when the two gel, like you're saying, the Pacific and the Atlantic, they eventually merge, but slowly, right? Very slowly. So I see, like, for us,
you know why?
This is my opinion is that they merge slowly because it takes time for people to know who they are or what they believe in and pick what they need.
And also Pacific and Atlantic, they don't merge hivyo vile utaona na macho because of the high density of
of the salt.
Salt.
Saline,
so tradition, we had our traditions before Christianity came in. I am not against
any religion.
Before even Waislamu came to Kenya, in our country, before even we knew about wazee wetu, they had their traditions. They used to pray their gods and rain used to come. They used to pray for anything they need. They used to sacrifice for their God. If those days they used even to take the sheep, I think is the sheep, they used to sacrifice. And they used to, I'm told they used to burn it, the lamb, They used to burn it and nobody used to eat from that meat. Walikuwa wanachinjia Mungu yao because kuna mahitaji wanahitaji na Mungu wao. They were praying to the same God that we are praying in a Christian way. My thinking. Because God hajakuwa tofauti, ni yule yule.
I like that point that you're saying about that sacrifice. The tradition, the African tradition that you're talking about. In Christianity, also, they used to do the same. They used to do the same thing. So that's what the point that I'm saying. There are areas that are going to merge. There are areas that our traditions and the beliefs, the theological beliefs of any religion are going to merge. And there are areas that are not going to merge. So the question is, how do we draw the line? And who is right? How do we draw the line?
Everyone wants to be right. That's why you see people fight when you talk about religion. If you touch a religion, that someone's religion, they will fight without sitting down and wanting to know why. Like now, if, let's say for example, someone from a certain religion comes out of the other religion's vicinity and start preaching from their fence, it's an easier way of dying. Because these other ones will get agitated.
It's a belief, you know. There's a lot more than meets the eye. And I'm curious just to know, well, it's probably something that each person has their own belief again on where to draw the line. But I'm just saying, like the story you gave, right, of that guy, there are things that are going to happen to us. There are people who believe they do happen. There are people who say that it's just, there are people who just say it's that science that has not evolved, which is still valid depending on what you're talking about. But the question that is there is where do we draw the line?
There are some things you can never draw the line. That's why nimekuambia some things. Your grandfathers used to slaughter for their God, asking for some stuff to be done. Some people covered their generations with that sacrifice to their gods. Na kuna vitu ambazo zimesemwa kimila, if you go against. Have you ever umeisikia hiyo maneno? Hii unaambiwa mpaka home, hii hapa hatuvukagi.
I know.
Mimi okay.
They're like the Kikuyu, in the Kikuyu tradition. In where I've been brought up, there are certain clans that we don't get married to.
Exactly.
They don't get married to. And this is the point that I'm trying to ask, and maybe people can also tell us, is those who don't know, right? Because there are those who don't know, who've not been taught, or have never heard about this, like our children. Likely they are never going to subscribe to this, but they say 7 generations or something like that, will be in that. So that's why I'm asking, where do you draw the line? Now, those are your beliefs, right? Whatever you're saying are your beliefs.
I don't believe, I'm just talking. I don't believe, I'm just giving examples.
That is what you know. It's from your point of knowledge that you know.
I believe in Jesus the power. I'm just giving the knowledge of tradition and religion.
So that's why I ask you, where do you yourself, where do you draw the line?
I follow my tradition, and I'm still following Jesus. That's why I'll go and Russia.
So that's why you're merging. That is your merge point. That is your merging point.
Yes, I will go and Russia. That is tradition. That is, that was what our wazees used to do even before our religion came.
My merging point, because I've asked you that, my merging point is that I see those traditions that we're talking about and the culture is just a tip of the iceberg. There's a lot more underlying issues that are there, and we can pick whatever we want and practice them, right? Because even them, just like what we are talking about, it's from our point of knowledge. Even them, it was from their point of knowledge at that point. The same thing like that you were talking about when you were being brought up, there was Christianity and how it was brought to you. It was from a point of fear, right? But with time, you realize this is not the way it's supposed to be. So you also picked things from Christianity and ran with it, right?
Like for example.
Then, before I lose my track of thought, then you're picking things from each one of them and trying to see where you can merge. So you're also creating your own tradition.
And I have your own, to do so.
And you're creating your own culture. So that means, to me, I feel like I am not wrong because I am creating my own tradition and my own, picking what I need and pick my own tradition and merge them, right? And creating a culture for our children or children to come, right? But does that mean that I am right? Even them, they'll come and say, "Hey, these people didn't know what they were doing," right? Because they made those decisions from the point of information that they had.
So, in the Bible, and let me not say the Bible, in Christianity, in my beliefs and my, I choose to be a believer. I'm not more of a religious person.
What do you believe in?
In Jesus Christ.
In a higher power or in Jesus Christ?
Jesus Christ, because I read the Bible myself and I see what he did and how it was. But when I was in nursery school and I was being taught Sunday school about Adam and Eve, they sinned, walikula tunda. So, mimi niliishi nikijua walikula tunda. Lakini kwa hii tunda ukitoa hiyo A uweke U uko nyuma, it tells you what they did. Tunda, what they did, that's something unacheka ni.
But even in your tradition, there was Gikuyu and Mombi.
Is it not nearing the story of Adam and Eve?
Gikuyu and Mombi, they had daughters.
Yes.
They don't talk about Adam and Eve. They talk about Gikuyu and Mombi had daughters. I don't know where they came from, but then they were brought. Anyway, it's a whole different discussion.
It's interesting.
It is interesting. So the point is, the question was, where do we merge? Where do you merge your tradition, your culture, and your religious belief?
My cultures are my cultures. That's why nimesema hata tukianza rorashio, kama unarashia na we ni Mkristo, bado we ni cultural.
Kwa hivyo wana merge.
Unaelewa? Kama like kuna zile vitu tuseme kama hapa America saa hizi watu celebrate vitu kama Halloween. Tunakutaga kwa nyumba huko nje wameweka ma skeletons za watu, wameweka some scary stuff.
That's a tradition.
Our country people in Kenya, they celebrate Halloween, lakini sijaiona mtu anaweka hizo vitu.
Kwa sababu wana choose what
our tradition doesn't allow that. Watu watasema wewe ni mchawi. So you get my point? Kila mtu ana tradition zake na vile anafanya.
True. So, how do you conclude this?
I say, mtu believe na ile kitu anataka, afanye ile kitu anataka. But tradition will never let you go.
Now that thinking of that, Christianity revolves a lot around Jesus, right? Who Jesus was what?
Jew.
Didn't they have a tradition, especially where I know they had a tradition is because when he died and they put him in the tomb, they put that white cloth.
Yeah.
That was their tradition.
Their tradition, yeah.
So why are we negating our tradition while even Jesus took the tradition of where he came from? That is my conclusion.
Because
that is my view.
Nayo nikisema italeta.
Yeah, that is my conclusion. So usituambie hapa, no, everybody should stay with their tradition.
Yeah.
And believe in a higher power.
There's a higher power. And you cannot dispute that.
Yeah.
Because God is God. Mungu ni Mungu.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he is our Father.
Okay. Okay, Baba. And with that,
Baadaye.
If you've been here this far, consider subscribing. Thank you. Baadaye.